I went to an alternative junior high school. It was called junior high school because it went from 7th to 9th grade instead of 6th to 8th like middle school, and it was alternative because it was a different learning program. It was a small school, just about 90 kids, group of portables in a high school campus. And it was supposed to be more of a learning your own pace environment, but they still had grades, and mine were pretty dismal because I had ADD, short for addicted to television. But we had like an annual trip to Victoria, Canada. You know, it was kind of nice, but it was across town, so I had to take a metro bus to get there. And then in 8th grade, I find out they're opening a new one in my own neighborhood. So I think I can go to that one. It'll be their first year. It'll be exciting, like kind of a pilot program. I can sort of show them the ropes, you know, how they do things. Little did I know that someone at the local school had decided that was where they could send all their unwanted kids. I don't mean kids who were like smart but struggling like me. These were kids who had mental health problems, drug problems, had been in and out of juvie, basically kids that teachers did not feel safe having in their classroom. And this was in a school district that thought 15-year-olds were too vulnerable for a high school environment. One of these kids was John Courtright. And I hated this kid, not so much because he was a bully, although he did throw my umbrella into the trash one time. But he was just better than me at everything. He was funny, he goofed around, he was popular, the girls liked him, he looked like a younger Brad Pitt with darker hair. We had a Shakespeare class together, and he got cast as Romeo in the scene we were doing, which meant he got to kiss Juliet, and it was a real kiss. Like in 7th grade, I had a kissing scene, and we did like a stage kiss where it's like you bring your face just alongside to where it looks like you're kissing from just the right angle from like a mile away. But they actually touched lips, and I was so jealous. Because I was servant number 2. I had 3 lines I didn't know what the fuck to do with, because what do I know about Shakespeare? So we ended up in drama school together in high school, and in high school, drama is basically, as far as the teacher's concerned, it's like make up a play, see you in an hour. And I could barely hold a conversation off stage, much less improvise on stage at that time. So we're doing a scene where like I'm playing a carpenter and he's my boss, and he's like ranting and raving at me about everything I did wrong, didn't do, you know, you must have got the plans upside down, etc. And all he needs is like one line from me, just an answer from me, and I got nothing. All I can think of is Jerry Lewis on SNL teaching the audience how to get out of a bomb. So I fall right to the floor. And I'm lying there long after the scene is over, and my friend Erin comes over, and she's like, "It's okay, you don't have to be an actor. There are plenty of other careers you can pursue." Which, that just made me more determined. So I majored in drama in college, and John and I end up in acting class again. And this time we're doing an exercise called Private Moment, which I think kind of comes from the Stanislavski School of Acting, where you bring in some objects from your house, you know, trophies, pictures, things that'll evoke emotional reaction. And we all did the exercise, and we all kind of like have, you know, different facial expressions, changes and whatnot. He gets up there and fucking cries. And for the first time, what the teacher saw as taking it too far, I actually saw as him having dealt with some pretty dark shit in his life. So we became pretty good friends after that, mainly because we were both into the same girl, and we both talked to her after class, even though she had a boyfriend. And at the high school I went to, girls didn't break up with their boyfriends, they married them and had their kids. So we got along okay by the end, but I went on to university, he went on to something else, and I didn't really see him after that. But then like 10 years later, I go on Facebook, and I get this friend request from this guy, Xavier Jimenez. I'm like, I have no idea who this is, so I decline. Next thing I know, he's going after me on a comment thread for declining his friend request. Now, being new to Facebook, I didn't realize that declining a friend request was the height of rudeness. So I friend request him and we connect, and he ends up sharing some pretty good memes, which makes me think, okay, whoever this guy is, he's legit. 3 years go by, and I'm working at a gas station at Kenyon Park in Bothell, which is like all strip malls, so very desolate after hours. And I'm working graveyard shift in basically a converted garage gas station. And I get this Facebook message from Xavier Jimenez, and it says, "Hey, it's John Courtright." Like an M. Night Shyamalan blackface. He was Kevin Spacey the entire time. And it's like, he asked me if I know anything about Excel, and I'm like, yeah, I do, but we're using, because I'm taking a financial accounting course at the time, which was like the only course where I didn't get a perfect A, University of Phoenix Online. So he asked me if I know anything about Excel, and I'm like, yeah, kind of, but we're using different operating systems, but we eventually figure it out. And then it turns out he's actually majoring in accounting at Wazoo, and he's like, well, we should, get together, catch up sometime. And I'm thinking, yeah, that'd be great. They might eventually one day have time for that sort of thing. Then a few weeks later, a mutual friend of ours, who also went to Odyssey Junior High School, who went on to an alternative high school that I wanted to go to, but my mom was like, there's not going to be alternative colleges. I'm like, yes, there are. They're called community colleges. You went to one. I think she just was tired of driving me across town. So she posts on Facebook that John Cartwright had hanged himself that morning. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I could have done anything to prevent his death, but I sure would have liked to know who the hell Javier Jimenez is. Thank you.